Well, now let's start with the news. And government has released some 855 million cedis to settle arrears owed to cocoa farmers following the recent payment crisis that left many producers unpaid for months despite delivering their produce to buying companies. Now, in the wake of the crisis, government has announced a sweeping package of reforms aimed at stabilizing and restructuring the cocoa sector, including a controversial reduction of more than 1,000 cedis in the producer price per bag. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, Chairman of the Finance Committee, Isaac Boadi, defended the measures, insisting they are necessary to restore financial stability and place Cocoa Board back on a sustainable path. There's more in the following report.
The controversy about the cocoa payment crisis will not go away. It is still a big conversation in Parliament, with the majority now speaking out in defense of their government against a tirade of accusations that has come from the NPP side, the minority. Now, the majority say government is releasing nearly $1 billion Ghana cedi to offset some of the arrears that have come up so far, but assuring farmers that this is not a problem caused by the NDC, but the government is up to the task and is fixing the problem. Isaac Boadi is chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament.
We have heard a lot of comments from our colleagues, and they have tended all of a sudden to pretend as though they are the people who love the people of Ghana, when Ghanaians were very clear that they were enemies of Ghana and didn't want them near the Flagstaff House anymore. The bottom line of all that has happened is that some amounts were owed to cocoa farmers, and the government took a decision to repay those monies so that the cocoa buying companies can settle those outstanding obligations. I'm happy to report to you that this morning the government has released 855 million for the purposes of paying those outstanding obligations.
Again, Isaac Boadi insists that cocoa farmers are better off than they were under the NPP administration, and that the NDC is actually fixing the problems that have been caused by the NPP.
Cocoa Board entered 2025 with roughly 17.8 billion in loans, plus significant operational liabilities. So loans alone was about 17.8 billion by the beginning of 2025. And if you add this to other obligations, you will soon come to realize that at this point, Cocoa Board was bleeding with an exposure of over 60 billion Ghana cedis. Certainly, that vehicle could not be sustainable and needed to be addressed.
Here in Parliament, you would think that this matter will just go away. Isaac Boadi insists that the NPP functionaries, including their members of Parliament, should actually be lashed by cocoa farmers for taking this position, despite he accusing them of being the cause of the problem.
When Cocoa Board had 286,000 bales of jute sacks sitting at the port, they only went and cleared 91,000 of them and left the rest at the port. Meanwhile, they also had 75,000 bales of jute sacks. So add that to what is in the port. They had enough to last them another 3-4 years. But just a few days before they left office, they went and contracted and paid 48 million to bring in 80,000 bales of jute sacks. These are reckless people. If it was possible in the days that we were shipping people, these are people that we have to line up and tell cocoa farmers, it is the conduct of these people that denied the government of Ghana the resources to properly take care of you at this point in time. So that we'll give everybody a cane. Cocoa farmers will ship you in tow. Then we will know who is at fault.
With nearly $1 billion Ghana cedi now being released to pay these debts, the minority continue to insist that despite this problem having been dealt with, they insist that government should revert to more than 3,600 Ghana cedis that it used to pay cocoa farmers. Reporting for JoyNews, Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Meanwhile, hundreds of cocoa farmers across Sefi and other major cocoa growing districts have staged protests against the NDC government following the mid-season cut in cocoa prices, slashing their incomes by nearly 30%. Demonstrations were reported in Sefi, Rialso, Bekwai, Sunafo and Amenfi, with farmers warning the cut threatens their livelihoods. Here is the leader of the group.
Especially petition by cocoa farmers in Western North region to the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board through the regional manager Cocoa Board Western North. We, the cocoa farmers of Western North region, gathered today at Sefi, respectfully submit this petition to the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board through the regional manager. We are law-abiding citizens and hard-working farmers who contribute significantly to Ghana's economy. Cocoa remains the backbone of our region and a major source of foreign exchange for the nation. It is therefore with deep concern and heavy hearts that we register our displeasure that the recent reduction in the producer price of cocoa is woefully inadequate and a bad example and precedent to start with. Our concerns: reduction in cocoa price, the downward adjustment of cocoa.
Now, receiving the petition on behalf of Cocoa Board, the Western Regional Administrator of Cocoa Board, Enoch Amprofo, said the concerns of the farmers will be attended to.
The farmer welfare is at the heart of every decision that the management takes. Bibia no one more management ebeya sabe enye farmer no yiye yontia we to da na biba na se eno no de ayeden aba aha na enso so.
Cocoa Board management always puts farmers' interests first. Cocoa Board is implementing a turn-around strategy that will deliver results. We ask for your patience as we work to resolve these issues. Many of us are cocoa farmers ourselves, so we deeply understand and share in your concerns.
Boardrooms are industry no akomu no say enche biara e be free eno nti yesre nana ene ne nkofo nyina say abotere na ye free no ho so wo munya abotere na wo moma emre kakra enim say anya free no e be free e say hu say ye nyina asoso ye cocoa farmers ni bi nti bibia ni ayen so yeti.
Now, the Vice President, Professor Nanaje Nopoku-Agyemang, is urging Ghanaian women to refuse being belittled and intimidated simply because they are women. Speaking at the first annual National Forum on Women in Government and Media at the Jubilee House, she emphasized that stories about women should not focus solely on superficial issues like appearance at the expense of highlighting their intelligence and competence.
Musician Ifia thrilling the crowd at the maiden edition of the annual National Forum on Women in Government and Media. The event was held under the theme Leadership, Visibility, Public Trust. The high-level gathering brought together distinguished women leaders, policymakers, and media professionals from across the country to promote strategic collaborations. There were speeches, networking sessions, interactive dialogues, and more. Leader of the Women's Caucus in Parliament, Comfort Doyo Kujuganza, called for more female representation in Parliament.
Out of 276 members of Parliament, we have 41 female representation, which is relatively small as compared to that of the male representation. There is the need to fight for protection of the few women in governance and advocate for the increase in number of female representation, especially in Parliament. Our Vice President is the head of the economic management team. And how do we see it from '92, when she was nominated as the Vice President? The argument was she's an English student and the other one is economic student. But let's see the difference. Which one has performed better?
Chief of Staff Julius Debra called for more collaboration between women in media and women in government.
Remember when His Excellency the President nominated Professor Nana, we all said she's broken what? The glass ceiling. Very outstanding. But you know the part that I loved so much? When Prof Nana herself said, well, you've opened the door for me to walk through, but I don't want to be selfish. I'm going to stand by the latch, open the door for many other women to walk through. And I think that is what she started today. The objective of bringing you here is not just to come and listen to a series of talks, but to try and network, make some good friends, collaborate as we progress, because that's what the President wants to see.
The Vice President, Professor Jenano Pukwajuman, urged Ghanaian women to refuse being belittled and intimidated simply because they are women. She urged Ghanaian women to reshape the concept of power.
We must refuse to be belittled. We must refuse to be intimidated. We must refuse to be shaped in other people's images. We must have faith in ourselves. We must refuse for anyone to talk us down. Simply because we are women. We are proud of being women. Women journalists and editors carry a particular responsibility, not because women are morally superior, but because your presence changes perspective.
Now, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has saved the country more than 85 million Ghana cedis after intercepting and securing 12 articulated trucks carrying 44,105 packages of edible cooking oil, tomato paste and spaghetti. Checks indicate that 18 trucks were automatically gated out of the system, yet only 12 were physically intercepted. Investigations are underway to determine the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the remaining 6 trucks, as well as any possible collusion. Fatao Bayaga has more in the following report.
The trucks bearing registration number plate from Togo, Ghana and Niger were declared as transit goods from Akanu and destined for Niger through Kolongogo. However, they were moving without the required customs human escort, a major breach of transit procedures according to the GRA. Speaking to the media after visiting the Tema port to assess the situation, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyako Ampem said, but for the timely interception by the task force, the nation would have lost millions of cedis.
Initial assessment of this by customs indicated that it was worth about 2.6 million in taxes. But when they did reassessment, they have realized that the actual value of the taxes that is due the state is over 85 million Ghana cedis. And so this is a huge revenue leakage to the state.
He has therefore given the GRA a one-week ultimatum to investigate the development, particularly the disappearance of 6 trucks.
I've asked Commissioner General to conclude investigations within 1 week. We are told that 2 customs officials were expected to accompany, to escort these goods that were purported to go all the way to Niger. Unfortunately, they were not. We will want to find out why.
The Commissioner General of the GRA, Anthony Kwesi Sapon, also expressed concern over the development and assured that the matter would be thoroughly investigated within the stipulated 1-week period.
As the Honorable Minister has directed, we'll carry out the investigations within the week. And once we determine the full measure of this action, we want to assure that the first instance we will do is that if these goods, as we have intercepted today, are found not to have been properly documented, we will apply the law of confiscation.
He further warned business operators to desist from engaging in activities that deny the state much-needed revenue.
We want to sound a caution to all businesses and traders that they should voluntarily carry out their businesses in a compliant manner and will support them as partners in national development. However, businesses that try to do activities or carry out their businesses in a manner that will try to usurp the right of the state and deny the state of the needed revenue, the strong arm of the law that we are mandated to do as we are experiencing or seeing today will stretch it.
Authorities say the outcome of the investigations will determine the next line of action, including possible sanctions against persons found culpable. For Joy News, Fatah Bayaga, Accra.
Now, the Municipal Chief Executive for Infantiman, Stanley Eric Aqua, has assured management and staff of the Salt Pond Municipal Hospital of urgent intervention to address the facility's pressing challenges. During a visit to the hospital, concerns were raised over dilapidated units, inadequate staff and security threats, and the lack of staff accommodation. In response, the MCE pledged to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to improve conditions at the facility and strengthen healthcare service delivery in the municipality.
The Municipal Assembly, under the guide of the MCA, is one of our biggest stakeholders. Whatever support they have, our doors are open.
For more than a decade since receiving a facelift, the Salt Pond Municipal Hospital, Ghana's second oldest hospital, is grappling with deteriorating infrastructure and operational challenges that threaten quality healthcare delivery. The hospital's medical superintendent, Dr. John Moses Reko, highlighted some of the challenges and appealed for urgent support.
Even though we get some help, but it's not enough. So, first of all, the environment, the structure, the equipment, the main heavy equipment that a basic hospital or a district hospital needs is a problem. Currently, as we speak, our mortuary has been temporarily closed down because the structure and the environment is really, an eyesore. So we're calling on stakeholders, the government, and everybody concerned to come to our aid. To help us address some of these issues. We, as management, we are poised, motivated to really work, and we are doing it gradually. But it's also, our IGF is not enough to meet all these conditions as well. Even our vehicle, we don't have a vehicle now. Our vehicle is overaged and it's in a red zone and keep on breaking down. Anytime we even travel or 1 kilometer, it's not safe at all for staff and the driver. So it's a big challenge for us right now.
During a visit to the hospital, the Municipal Chief Executive of Infantiman, Stanley Eric Aqua, assured management and staff that immediate steps will be taken to address the present challenges. Yeah, there are immediate, and those ones that call for immediate actions will be addressed without delay. And so moving out of this place, I'm going to invite the works engineer to come around, do assessment of the places that call for maybe renovations and other places. We tackle those ones, we work on them fast, and then probably we move into those ones that will call for maybe discussions, collaborations, and other things. He indicated that he will collaborate with the area's Member of Parliament to mobilize the necessary support and interventions to improve conditions at the hospital. I'm going to reason with my MP. The MP happens to be a health committee member in Parliament, and so he has, anything that relates to health at heart, and he has much more experience in matters that border on health. And so I'm believing moving out of this place, when I invite him to these discussions, is going to be of help as far as finding solutions to the problems that confront Salt Pond Hospital is concerned. From Salt Pond, Abigail Lissel and Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, let's bring some business update now, and let's start with the currency market. Also, our first story now, a state pension trust net has indicated it will head to the courts to ensure employers honor contributions of their workers. The move is part of a broader strategy to improve compliance by more than 90% to help save the scheme. Reacting to the development, Executive Director for African Center for Retirement Research, Abdullah Mashoud, said the decision will strengthen compliance. He spoke to Joy Business.
It's clearly provided in the Act in the event that anybody violates the provision of the Act with regards to payment of contributions and all that. We have a provision in the Act that strengthens or that gives the power to, to take it to court. So it's clearly that has been provided in the Act. I've also heard the Director General indicating that government has made good all its obligations. It is exciting to hear that government has made good all its obligations. For government is the biggest employer and has fulfilled all its contribution payment obligation to the trust. On that note, I think we have to commend the government and the Board of Trustees for ensuring strict compliance to the contribution payment provision of Act 766. Remember, it is important to note that delayed contribution payments by past governments have been cited in actuarial valuation reports as one of the factors that hurt the financial stability of the SNP scheme. We saw that particular finding in the 2014 valuation report. We saw it in 2017. We also saw it in the 2020 valuation report. And so no doubt, the payment of contribution will surely improve the trust investment function, its liquidity position, and ultimately the actuarial status of the scheme.
Now, the producer price inflation for January 2026 has declined marginally to 1.6 from 1.9% recorded in December 2025. This represents a 0.3 percentage point drop. The following report has more.
The data published by the Ghana Statistical Service on February 18, 2026 showed that on a year-on-year basis, the ex-factory prices of goods and services increased by 1.6% between January 2025 and January 2026. The rate also showed 26.9 percentage points lower than the 28.5% recorded in January 2025. This shows a significant easing in producer price pressures over the past year. On a month-on-month basis, producer prices rose sharply by 3.3% in January 2026 compared to a contraction of 0.8% in December 2025, pointing to renewed short-term price momentum. Mining and quarrying, which carries the largest weight of 43.7% in the PPI basket, recorded a year-on-year inflation rate of 3.7% in January 2026, up from 3.3% in December 2025, representing a 0.4 percentage point increase.
Well, that's all for business. Up next is sports. Please do stay with us. And welcome back to the AM Show, and it's time for us to get into the newspaper headlines, and then we'll get into a discussion of some of the matters arising. Let's start with the Daily Graphic, and on the front page of the Daily Graphic, we've got the President signs 24-hour economy into law, paves way for economic transformation framework. And of course, we'll spend some time to talk about that today on the show. And GRA National Security seizes tracks in tax evasion bust. And Cocoa Board pays 1 billion Ghana cedis to cocoa farmers. And you also have at the back there of the front page, Garmanche stable after dawn crash in Oti region. And you also have securing employees' future, comply with pension contribution obligations. Of course, we brought you that story on the AM News earlier, and very troubling news there from the Garmanche. Well, on the Daily Guy newspaper, you have AG failed to make case against me. That's according to Wuntumi, who has filed, for the case to be stopped at the court. And you also have Russian tourist identity in dispute. Interesting. Then majority justifies cocoa price cuts. Isaac Adongo, also spoke at that press conference, and government released 855 million Ghana cedis for farmers is also captured there. And then you have Mahama signs 24-hour economy bill, and man 60 nabbed over guns and drug sales, also captured on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper there. So the cocoa conversation is continuing. It's not going to end anytime soon. And of course, the 24-hour economy conversation is also on. The authority has not been put together. So we'll try and get into that. And of course, the Russian individual who recorded some Ghanaian females is also in the news. Well, on the inside newspaper, you have Serene Insurance CEO backs local capacity to underwrite Ghana's marine cargo and wake up to neo-colonial threats. Sam Jonah urges African leaders, and majority rebuts minority cocoa claims, cites crippling legacy debts, low production crisis, and a few other matters from Cuba is also captured on the front page of the inside newspaper. Then also on the New Finder, you have Mahama signs 24-hour economic authority bill into law. Again, leading the headlines, most of the newspapers there, the 24-hour economic bill. And also cohabitation is not recognized as marriage under Ghanaian law. Of course, that's some clarity being provided there by a lawyer. And Greater Executive Secretary backs 1-year rent advance cap and a new rent bill. Interesting one. We'll see how that will be implemented. The Chronicle newspaper has also got cocoa farmers protest mid-season price cut. Of course, that also featured in our news earlier today. And Mahama, 855 million Ghana cedis hamper for cocoa farmers has also, is out there. So major developments as far as the cocoa sector is concerned. Payments have been made, we understand, to the tune of some 1 billion Ghana cedis. And of course, the 24-hour economic bill has not been signed, and at least an authority has been put together now to oversee the implementation of the 24-hour economy. So we'll get into that. But of course, also CDD did the assessment of President John Mahama's 1-year tenure now, and there were quite a number of development from that. We'll get to talk about it on the show today. So please do stay interactive on all our social media handles. Joining us this morning, we've got Dr. Ekia Amwako, who is the deputy spokesperson to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the MPP now. And also have Andrew Appiah-Dankwa, who is Director of Legal and Constitutional Affairs with the United Party. We understand they're making waves all over Ghana at the moment. And also David Vondi was a Member of Parliament for Chifo Ati Moka, and also Beb Momba Eti Moka. Chifo.
Hold on, let me answer this.
Yeah.
Chifo. Eti Mokwa.
Correct. Great. That's beautiful. As a Member of Parliament and also a board member of the SIC. He joins us in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Yeah, Left Council, good morning.
Good morning.
The United Party, the Yellow Army, isn't it?
Yellow Army.
Butterfly.
So far, so good, isn't it?
So far, so very good. Yeah.
And Doc, congratulations to you, I know, isn't it?
Yes.
You're still in the honeymoon, isn't it?
Well, not really. The job ahead is massive, so we're already on to that. Yeah, we didn't have too long to wallow in our victory.
Yeah. Excellent. And Honourable, good to have you.
Yeah, good to have you too.
Parliament has resumed. It's been busy days now.
I mean, it's been very busy days, but God is good. I mean, we're doing well, and government is doing very well. And I think we're working for Ghana, so that's good. We're fine. And good morning to you. Good morning to everybody listening, hearing us. And my people from Chifo Ati Moka, all of you, DCE, doing very well. Councillor State, you know the Central Regional Council of State member is from our constituency.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Hakim Adey. And everybody, I mean, Madam Confidence and all of you, a good morning to you.
Also, well, let's start in Parliament, because yesterday the Minister of Interior did present the the bill to try and make some changes to the existing NIB, and is intended, there are quite a number of things that they are looking to do. Among them is to change the name from the National Intelligence Bureau to the Bureau of National Intelligence. And if you listen to the explanation that was given, he said there's a bit of confusion relative to NIB, the bank, and the intelligence agency. People are getting confused about it. There are a few other details that are also made reference to: scrapping the office of the Minister of National Security and ensuring that we only have the National Security Coordinator, and a few other things also they're looking to change. But the minority in Parliament, in fact, the minority leader, Alexander Fenyomark, released a statement to that effect where they made their argument why they do not support that move. Part of it has to do with, they say there's so much power that is going to be vested on the National Security Coordinator. They also say that the power that's been given to the President to appoint the National Security Coordinator is something they find to be a bit excessive, limiting Parliament, as far as vetting process is concerned. And they just feel that there might be abuse of the office. Let me start with you, Honourable. You're in Parliament. You're familiar with this bill.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a lot of deliberation over this matter, and I think that security matters are matters that are of concern, high concern to everybody. And you want to have so much clarity when it comes to dealing with security matters. BNI, NIB, confusion of name, I think that there's nothing wrong about, making sure that when you're referring to BNI, you're referring to BNI if you're referring to NIB. And so changing the name to make sure that there is that clarity, proper identity of the name of the institution. For me, I think that these are little things that we don't need to waste so much time, about, and because they have a lot of issues that we need to be dealing with. So streamlining and making sure that we have a better security coordinating, office vis-a-vis that of the Ministry of Interior. Don't forget that the minister is now the authority that is superintending of all these security institutions now. The MPP created a lot of, ministerial, umbrellas here and there, and Minister for Interior, Minister for Security, Minister for that. I thought that we're trying to streamline things. We're trying to bring so many of them together and make sure that, our security architecture is properly redefined. And so for me, these are good moves, and I'm just calling on our friends in the minority to see reason to ensure that these things are not intended to curtail anybody's freedom and to take anything away from anybody. I mean, it's rather important to make sure that, responsibilities and duties are properly defined in the security architecture so we can have the best. And so for me, it's a good move, and we'll be able to...
what about the concern by the minority? And in the statement that was issued by the minority, they did stated that too much appointed power in the President, that the President appoint the National Security Coordinator, the Director General of Intelligence Agencies, and other key officials without any requirement for parliamentary vetting. They say these offices control agencies with coercive powers and access to sensitive national data, and it is unacceptable that they operate without legislative scrutiny.
These are little things that I think that, again, we should not be wasting time.
But wouldn't you be interested?
The power is vested in the President to nominate, if you like, people of high position, even for Parliament to vet. How many of them have Parliament vetted and disapproved and President's nominee?
But still offers Parliament
again, so some of these things are not so much of a concern that we should be wasting so much time on. I think that they are concerned that they want to bring them to Parliament for Parliament to vet them and to see whether or not the people are fit for the job and all that. Yes, I agree that bringing them to Parliament will not stop them from being appointed. And so what's important rather is how best we streamline the security architecture and make sure that jobs are done properly. And so let's allow.
But the scrutiny is important, isn't it?
Scrutiny is important. I agree with you.
Clearly, the bill does not offer Parliament an opportunity to scrutinize these individuals that are appointed.
Yeah,
You're talking about the president
look,
having too much powers to appoint people.
Look,
explains why the Constitutional Review Committee.
Look, I have said time with that number that, for example, if you take the IGP, for example, you take somebody like Chief Justice, for example, and other, positions. There is that political, interference in appointing such people. People perceive that there is this political interference in appointing all these people. I said, well, how do we deal with these things? Let's get to a stage in our life where individuals who have to occupy those positions will rise through the rank and get to those positions on merit. I have always advocated that let's try to decouple the Minister of Justice from the Attorney General position so that the Attorney General will rise through the rank, become Attorney General, and the Minister of Justice will be appointed by the President as a minister to serve in his government. And I believe strongly that these things, when we do, would be able to deal with the situation. People believe that there is political interference in appointing such people.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, changing name of BNI, NIB, that's peripherals, if you like. Little things that we should waste time on. It should go, it should pass. And I'll see bigger things to deal with. But the president will always appoint people. I mean, all the CEOs that the president appoints, we don't bring them to Parliament to vet them, who are handling bigger responsibilities and so forth and so on.
But the national security is...
National security, fine. Just one of the arm of security architecture. I mean, it should not be more important than the IGP. It should not be more important than any other individual, the army generals that are appointed. I don't think the army generals are brought to Parliament for vetting and all that. So for me, I think that these things are normal things we can all deal with, we can talk about, but they are not so much of...
Okay, interesting.
I don't really see anything so huge, so comes here and there.
You don't have much of an issue
to deal with whatsoever at all.
Yeah, I mean, Doc, let me come to you. What's your take on this one?
Well, it's quite obvious that this government has essentially gone on a renaming spree since they took power. It is fair to say they've been majoring in minors almost the entire duration of their government. We are at a point where we have a very serious situation with our cocoa farmers, where they are asking to be heard. Yesterday, I saw that some of them took to the streets with placards to demand what is due them. And as the opposition, I do believe that it is our duty to echo those voices and make sure that they are heard. So in the midst of all of that, when what seems to be the priority of this government is to change the name of NIB to BNI, it is almost laughable. And to circumvent Parliament, because NIB is not any institution or just any arm of government. It's not like the police or the army. Like Honorable rightfully said, in the police you go through the ranks. So even though you are appointed by the president, you would have been a police officer for at least 20 years before you get to the point of COP, before you are even considered to be an IG. It is understood that you would have that institutional memory. But in this issue of a national security coordinator, I don't think there's a criteria for the appointment. It's whoever the president sees fit. And now we are creating a situation where Parliament does not have that opportunity to question that person. It is true that with the numbers that they have right now in Parliament, they can basically have anybody approved. That is true. But the people of Ghana get an opportunity when there's a vetting. I'm pretty sure you remember the vetting of the current Deputy Minister of Communication. I found that one particularly interesting. Ghanaians, he was asked, I don't want to repeat it, to spare his...
I mean, it's a public thing.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody saw that.
Yeah.
That is the point of vetting. We get to, as normal Ghanaians, evaluate the people that are being put in these positions. Even if the situation is that we will not have a say, we get to see, the weight of these people. So now, one of the most critical security positions of this country, and you want the focus on, I think yesterday was a Thursday, when the cocoa farmers are hungry, there's no way, you've not been able to sit in a room to come up with a way to pay them what you promised them, or even 3,000 cedis. That is not the focus of the government. It is changing NIB to BNI, really.
But prior to this, the National Security Coordinator was not being vetted by Parliament.
Yes.
Except that
we had
the bill
minister.
that existed, there was a minister.
Yes.
So the minister, but in this case, you have the Interior Minister who has oversight responsibility of the national security.
Of the national security.
So if you're not vetting the National Security Coordinator, you have the Interior Minister who has oversight responsibility of the national security. So you can get to vetting.
Yes, but they are not going to. It's not the person who is occupying the Ministry of Interior is not going to be the same person as the National Security Coordinator. Mm-hmm. So you cannot say that because we are vetting the Minister for Interior, we are vetting the National Security Coordinator.
Yeah, but he has oversight responsibility.
No, but we do not get to see the weight and the thinking process of the person who is getting that job. And to me, it is all tangential. It is not as important. It doesn't add a kobo to anybody's money. It doesn't release stress of anybody. In fact, this government has also gone on a spree of sort of exposing the very delicate national security architecture that we have in this country by putting some of them on trial. We are getting to hear very in-depth details of the operations of some of our security agencies because they just decided to persecute one of them. So there are problems in that area that I think should be more important. And to me, especially around this time, I just think the timing is bad. We have way more problems to worry about than whether they are changing NIB to BNI. And the problem also becomes the way those arms of government, those agencies have been weaponized against members of the opposition. They've been weaponized against average Ghanaians. They've been weaponized to the point of just chasing people for publication of false news. I know one of the other things we are discussing today is the CDD report. Yeah. And I saw that even they found that to be very worrying, that it seems to be a pattern or almost like a behavior of this NDC government to use the state institutions, especially BNI, NIB, whatever they want to call it now, to go after political opponents for the most frivolous of things whenever they feel like it. Was it last week or so, just as we started talking about cocoa, they had NIB pick up the former CEO of NEIP. So if you are doing all of this and now you come to Parliament so that agency is given more autonomy, how does that sound right?
Interesting. Councillor, let me bring you in on this. You've been listening patiently. What's going through your mind?
So let me wish you luck.
And of course, let me say welcome to Prof. Professor Isaac Boadi has joined us now. Prof, good to have you. Yeah, good to have you.
Let me wish you luck, BBS. Wish yourself.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. Yeah.
Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
My own Professor, good morning.
Yo.
See, having listened to the attempts to more or less amend the name or to make some changes with the national security, having listened to the minority leaders, what's called statement, and having listened to my colleagues here, for me, I think, you see, it boils down to why we do politics, and it boils down to the purpose of our constitutional democracy. Because as much as I agree with the statement of the minority leader, for me, the other issue also then becomes, why has it taken us so long to be asking questions that borders on how national security works? Because then the issue for me is, whose interest does national security serve? Do they serve the interest of the president? Or do they serve the Constitution? And by extension, the purpose of the Constitution. And then for us also, whose interests do we serve? Because I heard my sister speak about the NDC government. No, the failure she's speaking about is not the failure of the NDC. It's the collective failure of Ghana, of the politicians in this country. You understand? So all of us, who do we serve? Do we serve our parties? Just that? Or if we serve our party, is it the end? Or is our intention to serve Ghana, the Constitution? You understand? Because once we answer that question, who do we serve? Or why do we do politics? Then all these issues can be brought into proper perspective. You understand? Because she mentioned the cocoa issue. That is important, but that is being dealt with. The cocoa farmers are being paid about 91% of the monies that were...
They are not being paid what they were promised. You can't keep throwing this 91% around.
When you're speaking,
okay.
Please, when you're speaking at the end...
Okay, I'm noting it down.
Yeah, you understand. At the end of the day, they have been paid 91% of the monies they received. You understand? When Nana Addo was in power, under very similar circumstances, they paid about less than 35%. You understand? Now, if you appreciate that the focus of this constitutional democracy, one is to protect our lives, protect our liberties, then you cannot downplay issues that concern national security. You understand? And if the focus of our constitution and the focus of national security is to serve the constitution, then I think it is critical that Parliament has some form of what's called oversight in how national security operates. Because national security doesn't serve the president per se. National security serves the constitution. And by extension, the people of Ghana serves the purpose for this constitution. You understand? Now, I think the issue of the interior minister was brought. There's the national security coordinator. Who does he report directly to? He reports directly to the interior minister. Then first square, then I think the interior minister I don't use the word vetting, but Parliament approving, because it's Parliament themselves that have decided to use vetting as a means of approving the president's nomination as per the constitution. Am I right? You understand? Because Parliament can choose to use other means to approve. Now, if the National Security Coordinator reports directly to the minister, then I think the approval state can end there. But if they report directly to the president, then I believe that in the interest of the purpose of our constitution, Parliament ought to have some form of oversight there also. Because we are running a constitutional democracy, which means that we are running a democracy that says that the powers of government ought to be limited. You understand? Now, I don't know, do we have a parliamentary intelligence National Security Committee? I don't know.
Yeah, there's
we have an intelligence.
There's what?
Intelligence.
Yeah,
Defense and Intelligence Committee.
Defense. Yeah. So the Defense Intelligence. Yeah. Yes, and I'm sure the purpose is to serve as some form of oversight over the dealings of national security. So,
but you see, the bigger concern by the minority is what they fear a certain abuse of the office. That is likely to be a certain abuse of the office, because in this new the amendment that is being sought to be done, we're going to see a lot of power being invested in the National Security Coordinator, and the minority is fearing that there might be abuse, and if care is not taken, like Doc was saying, it might be weaponized against opposition parties.
You see, it's a fair view to hold. Unfortunately, and it's not an excuse to say that because national security has been weaponized since 1992. National security has been weaponized since 1992. And there's a need for us to alter the political culture in this country to ensure that the purpose of what's it called, this constitutional democracy is fulfilled. And that's why I'm saying that we run a constitutional democracy, which means that we believe that for us to fulfill the purpose of this democracy, the powers of government has to be limited. So that if what the minority is asking for is that is a parliament in general, you understand, the granted powers to more or less approve who becomes what's called the coordinator or not, then for me is in the right direction. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you don't want a situation where we are saying that we want to limit powers of government so that our rights can best be safeguarded. And yet, on the other hand, we purport to give powers to a body that may be weaponized. But you see, whether or not they will be weaponized or not depends on so many factors, not just the letter of the law, but also the culture that we create, the political culture we create here, strengthening of institutions. Because you don't want a situation where, and I'm saying that because of the kind of very bad governance we experienced between 2017 and 2024. And you see, when we go into the CCDD report again, you realize that in terms of Ghanaians' perception for good governance, the CCDD report is saying that it dropped by almost 31%. Out of 2024. So by 2024, the perception of Ghanaians in terms of whether or not democracy was serving our interests was so bad that Ghanaians started for once thinking that, listen, we don't think democracy is serving our purpose. And that was because of the bad governance given by His Excellency Nana Addo. But you see, if we strengthen institutions, if we strengthen our institutions, if we create the right political culture, then you have a situation where the system itself can mitigate the rare occasions where we have bad leadership. You understand? And I think that ought to be the focus. And so I agree with what the minority is saying. But it falls within the broader purpose of this constitution, which is to limit powers of government to what end? So that our lives, our liberties, and our right to pursue our happiness can best be safeguarded.
Prof, let's hear from you on this one.
Yeah, in fact, let me say good morning to you and my colleagues as well. A change of a name. Are we not tired of this whole development as a country? I don't know where we are heading towards. For security, governance, clarity will matter. Very important when we consider security-related matters. In fact, this one we don't need to be talking about all these things even here. Because security matters are very important and sensitive. I grew up knowing one name, that was BNI. In fact, you shudder when you hear that name. You sweat when you get a call that they are calling you from BNI. I mean, the name alone will discipline you. We have moved from that name, changed the name to, I think, NIB.
Yeah.
I'm sure it created some confusion in the minds of other people. Is it National Investment Bank? Or, I mean, so many complications that came up. For me, I am not enthused about these changes of name and all that. Are we having structural reforms? Will the change of a name automatically address the operational practices, institutional challenges we have in these organizations, or public perception about this organization? Would it change? I don't know. There's a question I also want to ask, that can't we have a legal reform without necessarily changing a name of an organization? Can't we do that? Have we done the cost-benefit analysis of a change of a name? Recently, we're talking about, I think, airports.
Yeah, Kotoka International Airport.
The budget we plan, for this year, do we factor the cost items when we change? Because it will come with a cost. Is that the same thing we are doing to this? When are you going to implement this? My brother, we woke up in the morning. Today, 8 people have been killed. Where? Burkina. Have you, your news portal, how many of your news portal captured that item today?
Throughout the week, it's been captured. In fact, on this platform.
And what have you seen in terms of implementations and action plans of this administration? What have you done? Nothing. We go back to bed. Beyond this, walk through the streets of Accra. Cocoa board. Workers have been asked to reduce their salary. Have we done the cost-benefit analysis of all these people? No. But this morning, we are saddled with a change of a name. Now it's going from where? It used to be NIB.
Yeah.
Now BNI.
Yeah.
Now NCQ. I don't know where we are going. We need to have a priority as a country. It's, for me, if you want to change a name, I think this calls for a setup of a commission or an agency that must be in charge. If you want to change a name, they must be the body to oversee such a thing. No, this one must not be added to a priority of this administration. No. There are daily issues that are more of importance to us than these discussions of a change of a name. I don't know where we are going as a country. Our priorities. Do we even have priorities as a country? Some people went to Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina, to transact business, to bring products. Today, where are the warning signs? Where are the alerts? Which country are we not supposed to go again? Anytime US, they issue security alerts, they tell the citizens where they must go, where they must not go. We live in a global village. Security matters must not be discussed here. It's important, but the point is that what are we going to add on to this? But it's good. As a panel, we talk about everything. But for me, I tell you, if this is a priority of this administration, then I'm afraid. So we should move away from this change of names and we focus on major issues that concern us. Very important. If we keep doing this every day, investors, other people are always watching us, what we discuss, what we talk about. So I won't say much on this. I won't have a lot of things. But yes, it created confusion a few months or years ago, the change of name from NIB to BNI and all that. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to even know. When you get a call from NIB, you don't know whether it's a bank that's calling you or it's an office calling you. So if you want to change the name, we must have reasons for. And at this crucial moment we find ourselves, is it what we must be saddled with?
Interesting. Well, also in Parliament, finally the 24-hour economy bill was sent to the presidency. Yesterday, the president signed it into law. So we have the 24-hour economy authority now, and it's going to oversee the implementation of government's 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program. And of course, major campaign promise by the government, and a lot of people have been waiting to see the 133 jobs and the many other things that the policy intends to do for the country. Of course, there's a very comprehensive document on that 24-hour economy. In fact, they call it 24-hour economy, 24-hour plus, that speaks to the various areas: Aspire 24, Fund 24, Connect 24, Growth 24. I think about 8 of them thematic areas. But fundamentally, according to the numbers, we're looking at about $4 billion that is needed to implement it fully for the next 5 years. I think some 110 million Ghana cedis is what was budgeted for it this year. And Mr. Gusitan, of course, is leading that implementation drive. But President Mahama, in his remarks yesterday, he did say that he is hoping, and I quote him, said, "This is a law Ghanaians have been waiting for. It is one of our flagship strategies for economic transformation." And he explained that it had taken a while to come through, but, unquote, we needed to go patiently through the process to give legal effect to it. And so from now, we must move from strategy to implementation. So now we're waiting for the implementation of it. There are a number of incentives the government is looking to give various companies that will jump onto this, because the government says it's going to be largely a private sector-led initiative. Honorable, let me come back to you. This was a major campaign promised by your government. Are we finally going to see the jobs?
And let me thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for ascending to the bill and to making it law, which of course is now moving from strategy into implementation of the ideas that we talk about when we're having our campaign. It was one of the programs that we actually championed so much, 24-hour economy, where the Ghanaian youth will have the opportunity to work 24 hours, in a day. People going morning shift, afternoon shift, and evening. You remember all that? Mm. I think that we're serious, and His Excellency Mahama is demonstrating about the seriousness of everything he said. We were all in this country where there was this promise of one district, one factory. I never saw any blueprint. And because there was no policy document, there was no documents to guide the policy, you saw what happened. I mean,
there was a policy document. There was a policy document from the Ministry of Trade. There was the 1D, 1F Secretariat also, which was overseeing the implementation of it.
Well, I didn't see it because it is not, maybe it was not visible, I didn't see it. But again, the policy of 24-hour economy being ascended to by His Excellency Mahama yesterday was remarkable. Now, like you said, he himself said, it is time to implement the program where it is now, passed by Parliament, and every Ghanaians will be expecting that the 24-hour economy will begin to work. I think that some of the organizations have even started, implementing 24-hour economy. You remember the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, Okujeto Ablakwa, announcing that the passport office was working 24-hour, already. The DVLA was implementing that, and there's some few of them. Now, what is very important, and I think what I'm happy about, is that now the private sector will be given the needed support to be able to operate 24 hours. For example, if you are into manufacturing and you register to be under the 24-hour economy, where you're going to be operating all day long, all night and all that, you have incentives like, tariff cuts, here and there that would actually give you some relief to be able to employ more people. A lot of agro-processing is going to go on, where our export is going to actually go up. So for me, I think it's a very good thing that His Excellency Mahama living by his promise and doing what he promised he was going to do.
Yeah, but fundamentally, fundamentally, the heart of this is that you intend to create jobs for the people with this policy.
Absolutely.
In fact, I was just looking at the thematic area of Growth 24, and according to the objectives, they are looking to create over 700,000 jobs.
Exactly. So, like I said, if you have a private sector who is into manufacturing of, let's say, take any company, for example, who is actually into manufacturing, you have as incentive like tariff, reduction from your electricity, your water bill and all that. Now you have the opportunity to employ more people. Government is helping you, even giving you some, if you like, financial support to boost your operations. You have the opportunity to employ a lot more people. So that is what we want to do this time around, to ensure that the economy runs 24 hours without stop, creating jobs for young people. And I think that it's a good thing, and every Ghanaian should be ready to see the implementation. And every organization, all the private sector, led institutions should be able to be ready to assign to 24-hour economy, to get incentives and to improve our economy. I think that it's a very good thing. And you and I agree that when this program is implemented successfully, we're creating 700,000 jobs for our Ghanaian youths. But come on, that's a big deal.
President Mahama is in the second year now. We've got about 2 more years, if you want to say 2+ years before he ends. Are they going to see the job? Because 2028...
You see, it doesn't matter how long you occupy the position. It's about how well and how efficient you occupy the position. We've seen 8 years of economic destruction and economic, in our country. We've seen it. So it doesn't matter how long you sit on the seat. It's about how well you manage what you're giving to, how effective and efficient you manage what you're giving to. So that's not a problem. We're saying that we're giving incentives to organizations, private organizations, to lead this drive, to lead this policy, and to make sure that government supports them with financial support. You're talking about billions of dollars that we want to put into that program. This year, we're looking at millions of dollars we're putting in Ghana cities, we're putting in this program to ensure that we create jobs. And the jobs will come. People ask, where are the jobs? You cannot sit every day and do the same thing that you do every day and think that you're going to get any change.
You have to change to be able to get the results you're looking for. But if you do the same thing every day, you go to work morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, you close 5 p.m., you come home every day, you expect things to change, it's not going to change. We are saying that our economy must grow, give incentives to the private sector, give them tax cuts, give them tariff reliefs, gives them a lot of incentives like putting money. Remember the first administration of His Excellency Mahama, where, you know, pharmaceutical organizations, for example, were giving so much incentives, you know, some of them to be able to increase their operations, and then, of course, they did so well. We are expanding that. We are asking the private sector to come on board and to join these incentives and give, you know, job to our young people.
How soon should we start seeing the jobs?
We just passed this bill. It's just been signed to law. I mean, if we want to say how soon we should start seeing the job, how soon? As soon as now. As soon as now, again, that's the beginning of the implementation of this strategy is beginning today because they've been signed. And so the jobs
we should start seeing coming. The jobs coming.
Of course. Of course. The fact that you're not going to see 300,000 people employed today does not mean that the implementation process has not begun. The fact is that it's a process, and the fact is that we've finished one aspect of the process, coming to Parliament, doing the bill in Parliament, passing it in Parliament, taking it to the presidency, ascending to it, and now implementation. That is a process. And so let's wait for the jobs. The jobs are going to come.
I'm going to come
and
to
the Ghanaian youth are going to be
give us a little bit of perspective.
You know, so for me, it's a good thing.
I'm itching to respond.
Yeah, great. I'm going to come to you, but just finally though, because one of the concerns that have been raised is the demand.
Good.
All right, is the demand to say, okay, you want the factories to run for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Is there demand?
Okay, so
is there demand for that? What's the demand?
So I'll give you a typical example. We've been talking about our cocoa sector, okay? One of the things that's killing the Ghanaian economy is that we do not add value to the raw materials that we have in here. We have our cocoa, and when the cocoa is harvested, and all we do is that we export all the cocoa, almost everything out there, raw like that. We're talking about investing into processing our cocoa. That's a lot of job that is going to be created. Today, hold on. Today, look at our gold. The gold board, we just began refining our gold in this country. That's going to create a lot of job. The refinery sector should be running 24 hours, in a day. The gold processing plant that is coming up should be running 24 hours a day. Our agro processing, go to the cassava that we have, go to the farm produce that we have. Sometimes, I am a farmer. You go to the farm, you harvest cassava, you harvest plantain, and you go to the market and they get rotten because there are no storage, there are no processing, of these things. We are saying that these are the things that we're giving incentives to the Ghanaian individuals and organizations to do. I don't think that anybody should have an issue with this.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has an issue.
Otherwise, we're going to stay the way we are.
But the question of demand was answered.
So the demand.
Yes. So where are you going to get the demand from?
You see, you don't listen. I am saying to you that when you create that environment where our raw materials are going to be processed, where we're going to add value to our raw materials in itself, it will increase our ability to export, to get even foreign exchange. And so if you ask of demand, then you're saying that, we should sit every day and do what we do every day and get same results, but thinking that we should get different results. It's not going to happen.
What I am saying is that you don't go ahead of demand.
Adding value to our raw material alone, creating industries that will process our raw materials alone, that alone is going to create huge job for the Ghanaian.
That's very important. What we are trying to do is not just create jobs, we are talking about high value jobs. But just to quickly respond to some of the things that were said during the first round of things. This matter of cocoa, I can see that the NDC and NDC Annex have the same speaking notes to keep saying that the farmer is getting 90%, the farmer is getting 90%. And so essentially everybody should keep quiet. But that is not the bottom line. The Ghanaian farmer was promised a certain figure. And being a government comes with responsibilities. No, I'm not bigger than that.
No, not bigger than this.
It comes with responsibilities.
Because you know the truth. The
meaning
propaganda
you are able to deal with problems as they come up, isn't it? during the past 8 years of the NDC administration, it's not every time that the world cocoa price was high, but that's why you were government. Sometimes you bail them out. That is why you were government. That is why you have the VAs. That's why you have all of those, the layers of power, so that you can take decisions to make the lives of the population easier. So you don't sit here and say you've given them 90%, even though you've given them a haircut, and so we should clap for you, NDC and NDC are next. Number two, we're in 2026. So for us to still talk about the former president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa, when we are talking about the shortcomings of this government, I think it's something we should leave behind. Even the people of Ghana are tired of hearing that. You are in government now, and so the onus is on you. And when we are asking questions, we're expecting it from you. And I'm very surprised that it's coming from a group of people who were actually part of that government for about 7 years. Then you come and sit here and talk about the perception of bad governance. You were part of that. So let's stop that kind of conversation. We are here today to discuss the issues on the table today with regard to the government in power, which is NDC. At every point when you are in a tight corner, you cannot go and blame the previous administration. That's why we were voted out.
Right, you can't be
so let me come to...
You've been waiting for
Let me now come to...
President says they are ready to implement it.
The 24 hour. Do you even believe it yourself? And when he was talking, I mean, it was quite difficult for all of us to have a straight face. I have taken painless time to go through their 24-hour document, their manifesto, everything they said about this, and so I can confidently say that let's not hold our breaths, the people of Ghana. This 750,000 jobs they said they were created by 2026. That's why I was asking. That's why I was hoping that you push on that question. It's not a future projection they made. By their documents, which I am looking at, they said in 2026 they would have provided 750 jobs through the 24-hour economy. So ab initio is a failure.
No, you have not. It has not been.
When they were writing this, did we force them to put the timelines there?
Yeah, but realistically, the document.
No, it's not realistic. I'm not the one. I'm not the one that wrote the document for them.
Yes.
They wrote and said that, okay, you come into government, I think 2025, isn't it? And by 2026, you'd have created 750,000 jobs. By 2028, they estimate to be able to create 1.7 million jobs. In agencies where there's already a 24-hour economy, in the health sector, the nurses that are at home, that you cannot employ. There's already 24-hour economy. The hospital runs the whole time. Employ them and pay them. You are telling them you don't have money. And you are sitting here trying to use flowery language to deceive the people of Ghana when the fact of the matter is you do not even have money. You do not even have money to implement it. How much did they say was required for the 24 hours? Some 4 billion.
Yeah.
You know, even what was estimated in the first budget for the 24-hour economy, not the full amount was not released. Are you aware that they didn't just promise rebates on these things? They promised a time of use tariff, electricity. The bill that was signed yesterday, do you see anything like that? So if I have a...
it's part of the incentives they will be given.
Yeah, I haven't seen that part of it. They promised a time of use tariff, meaning right now, if I have a factory that makes, well, let's say medical grade oxygen, I expect that if I run my plant in the night, I have some rebates, a time of use tariff. No, but instead of that, electricity tariffs in general, if you were operating that factory in 2024, and now, this is rebates for shifts, this is on tax, this is not time of use tariff. It's not the same thing. Am I? Can you compare a tax rebate to saying that you provide a time of use tariff for electricity use? No. The electricity tariffs actually have gone up. So what are you doing? Are you
going...
say
if you have a factory and you sign up to the 24-hour economy, you get to enjoy that.
This is in their policy. I have not seen that yesterday.
So they say when you sign onto it,
I haven't seen that in the final documents that I have seen. If it's there, he can tell me so that
the law that was signed yesterday.
No, I've seen rebates. I have not seen time of use tariff, and that is what is important to the person.
But it's captured in the incentives they are giving out in their major document. It's captured there.
Yes, that's the major document I'm looking at. But we still haven't seen that, and you have increased the cost of electricity from the time you made this promise up until now.
Do we really understand the 24-hour economy?
No,
really?
I think it's quite obvious that even the NDC does not understand
out to a policy.
What you said
and then we give you an incentive.
Is provide,
you are talking about government security to increase tariffs generally.
No.
We're talking about
specific thing. You are going to provide security and all of this in Osu and Co. so that the people that are already doing
the law was passed
24-hour economy can... It's not my fault that the law was passed yesterday.
What's the problem?
It was your flagship policy. When the MPP came
allow us to
power
implement it,
and our
please.
flagship policy
Hold on.
by
Allow us to
2017,
implement it,
by
please.
September 2017, PSHS was up and going. We're in 2026. You are still disturbing us with bills and signing this without it affecting anybody in real life or in person. So what are you talking about? You expect us to clap for you for signing documents? Is that what's going on?
But they said there are at least about over 50 companies in waiting.
No, 50
that have already
companies
expressed
in
interest.
wait. No, what they
and now
said,
that the bill has been signed,
Peter,
you only see it
what they
rolled out.
said was that they expect they are going to run one job, 3 shifts, 3 people, true or false. So we would expect that the simplest thing to do would be, at least from the public sector, true or false. So we expect that SIC, where he's the board member or board chair, if I'm not wrong, that now SIC has 3 shifts where people go in the morning, people go in the afternoon, people go in the evening, isn't it? Is that what is happening? That's what they said. They said that those selling wache in the morning, they are going to create a situation where they will be able to sell their wache 24 hours. Is that happening?
We have enough time. Otherwise,
no. You said a lot of things. And you know, the funny thing is, even the policy documents that they came up for with this 24-hour economy, if you want to look at it, it looks very similar to almost all the developments, the policy documents that most presidents have had from Nana Addo's time, from the 2010 to 2016 CPES SDP, Agricultural Modernization Infrastructure, and it's the same thing, almost word for word. So you are basically recycling something. You've put on a lot of slogans to this matter, and you expect us to clap for it. When we are not seeing any real progress from it.
In terms of the idea and what they intend to achieve with it, do you in any way find it laudable?
No, I don't. See, I can just tell you right here that I don't think the idea, the way they are going about it, is going to yield the results that they were preaching about. What they told us was going to happen is that now we are going to be like Tokyo or London, in the city of London, where it is bustling all around. Forgetting that those kinds of situations did not happen because one person decided to print T-shirts, make a song about 24-hour economy, and that is not how it happened in those countries. The demand of the population in that country grew to the point that businesses had to run 24 hours.
That's why you are wrong.
That is the simple truth. Do you think in Tokyo they made 24-hour T-shirts? No, I'm asking you. Are you saying
have to create demand for your goods
asking you that in Tokyo? No. If you are saying I'm wrong, in Tokyo, did they make T-shirts and songs 24-hour economy jumping all around the place before they were able to implement? No, I'm not saying there's no demand. I'm saying you have not done anything to create the demand. By your own timeline, you have already failed. It's not my fault that you signed the bill last year. It was the flagship policy coming into government. And if you say by 2026 you would have brought 750 jobs, you don't sit here and tell me that you just signed the bill. They don't ask you to sign the bill today. We expected that by this time we are talking about the jobs. We expect that by this time in the hospitals and co, where there's already 24 hours of operation, you would have employed more people so that they can work. But as we sit here, there are several batches of even doctors at home who you haven't employed because you cannot pay, and you are sitting here talking to me about 24-hour economy, and I don't understand this. Why don't you employ the people in the hospital who already work 24-hour economy so that you can pay them?
All right, Councillor.
Isn't that the simplest way to get your 750,000 jobs?
Yeah. All right, Doc. Thank you very much. Councillor, bring in.
Yeah. So, but let me start by saying that, you see, under our constitution, when powers were created, executive power was given to a man, to one human being, the president. But never has executive power been placed in the hands of a political party and their supporters. Because of that, it is very disingenuous for anybody to suggest that only by reason of the fact that you were a member of a political party, because they sponsored the president, in whose hands executive power was placed, then all of you, all the members of the party, are in government. I've never been in government. My fellow members of the UP have never been in government. I think
wasn't your boss the Minister of Trade?
I beg you.
No, wasn't
when you are speaking, I don't do my politics this way.
No.
When you are speaking, listen.
Just let him.
I don't do my politics.
Listen. Continue.
Yeah, just
never have I been in government. So you have never been in government. The fact that your party sponsored a president does not mean you are in government. Executive power was placed in the hands of the president. 2, when it comes to to governance, you see, you make a campaign promise, but your campaign promise must always align to the nation's agenda. So when you make a campaign promise and you come and the circumstance of the situation means that in implementing that campaign promise, you hit the general agenda. Then if you do politics in the interest of the people, then you take a decision which is in the interest of the people. We were here last 2 weeks, and my brother here said that for the government, in spite of the tumbling of the cocoa price and then the surrounding circumstance, and you cannot take the past from the present. You understand? Because it's not like when one government leaves, it comes back to 0.000000000. So you can never discard the past from the present. You understand? So because of a radical misgovernment or your co-leadership, you find yourself in a situation where to take a populist decision would hurt the economy. Then if you are a responsible government, they ought to take a decision which is in the interest of the country. And the decision to pay the cocoa farmers the price they've paid them in the circumstances shows me clearly that now we have a leader. We have a leader whose sole interest is to serve the interest of Ghana and not populist decisions. Now, and we see clearly in the arguments they are making. So when you take this 24-hour economy, you just oppose that against their policy like free SHS. And then let me take it back into history. See, after the Second World War, the economy of the USA was in shambles because they had come out of a Great Depression straight into Second World War. So there was no demand. As in, people didn't have money. Now they had a president who thought that he needed to resurrect the economy. How did he go about it? He did just start by acting. What he did was to institutionalize the solution. And so in America, President Dwight Eisenhower in 1953 led the passage of a law, the Small Business Act. Now the Small Business Act is the reason why the US's economy was transformed. The Small Business Act, SBA, what that act did was to create, first of all, an agency, the Small Business Agency. It was a federal law. So today, when you go anywhere in America, any small district, you find an SBA. The focus of that SBA, one, was to counsel, was to advise, was to give money to small businesses. And by that singular act, you had a situation where the U.S. economy created an environment where entrepreneurship, you understand, will grow, created demand. You see all these innovations we are seeing in the U.S., Microsoft and what's it called, as when you go to San Francisco,
Silicon Valley,
and all, they are as a result of this innovative act by Dwight Eisenhower with the Small Business Act. When you go to Europe, when the USA wanted to help you, how did they go about it? The Marshall, have you heard of the Marshall Plan? Yeah, you understand? Because when you are governing, you just don't act haphazardly. You must create and build institutions.
You think that's what's happened with the 24-hour economy?
Exactly. Because what they've done, instead of just following populism, they've taken their time to institutionalize the 24-hour economy. They've passed the law. They just didn't do shegum potogumu like was done with the so even though the free SHS was a fantastic idea, an idea that nobody can argue against.
Yes.
How? Because of the confusion nature of the implementation. You had a situation where education system was destroyed.
How was it destroyed?
Please, when you have a chance, but I don't do my arguments that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not in Makola. We are not in Makola markets.
You are just we are not a lot of things that are unsubstantiated.
No, we are not in Makola.
But you see, fundamentally though, yeah, it's been institutionalized. Fundamentally though, is that the ordinary people, to a very large extent, are waiting for the jobs.
Listen.
So now that's what they're looking for.
I'm coming. That's what I'm saying. That you see. So we are writing a story. Now and in that story, the past also matters. So you have a government. So we are coming back. We are coming out from the government who, in their campaign, said we are going to transform the economy. Now, when I say transformation, what does it mean? Transformation simply means you are shifting resources from places of lower productivity to places of higher productivity. That simply is transformation. 2016, we had so much about transformation. We had so much about changing the structure of our economy from Gadgisbergen economy to an economy that was meant to be transformational. Now you had what's called one of the stars of their party who came out with a comprehensive 10-point strategic for transformation. Honorable Alan, the one there for just a small bit of it. So for 8 years, when you went to the the Ministry of Trade, you saw the 10-point industrialization agenda. Now we know that all these strategies, no matter how beautiful your strategy is, you need commitment. Now, what is the commitment of Ghana? The commitment of Ghana is in how it uses its power of fiscal policy and monetary policy to support some of these agendas. And so in the words of Joe Biden, he said that, listen, show me your commitment. Show me where you put your money and I'll show you your commitment. Who held the power of fiscal policy? Under the last watch, when they took even Exim Bank from trade and took it to finance. So for them, all the usefulness of the trade minister was just to
what are you saying?
To produce. It's not the fact that Exim Bank was taken from trade to finance. It's not a fact.
How is that?
But it's not a fact. It is related because you see, when in any country where trade, I beg you, and don't come here and say annex. I take serious exception to
it's my opinion. You can't tell me what to say. That's the job you are doing here this morning.
I beg you. So your Minister of Trade is supposed to bring about transformation. Now, to bring about transformation, you need money. You understand? So that in every country where they're doing real transformation, they set up a bank in the agency of government that is meant to transform. That is trade. Exim Bank, and that's why we had Exim Bank in trade. When they came, they took Exim Bank from trade. So when it came to fiscal policy, as in how government spent its money, it was entirely with finance, with the president, his vice, and finance ministry. And that's how come one of their projects meant to be the most transformation, one day one left, had just 400 million Ghana cedis support. Just 400 million Ghana cedis support for 8 years. And and a very useless policy like NAPCO. So let's just ask ourselves this question. As Ghanaians, just ask yourself this question. What sense, wisdom is in spending 400 million in 1D1F and 5 billion in NAPCO? No, just ask yourself that simple question. When you have a government that's brought up a policy and said, listen, I'm not going to implement this policy in a very confusing nature. Let me first of all do it the proper way. Let me institutionalize it. And they stated clearly the pillars of that policy. They said one, they are going to the 24-hour is anchored on 3 pillars. One, productive transformation. So what they are telling us, and they've made it law, they are going to shift the factors of production from less productive areas to most productive areas. 2, they say they're going to streamline and expand supply and the market. You are talking about demand. You are talking about demand here. So when one of the core anchors is about supply and expansion of market, that is a strategy that will end with the creation of that demand. And the last bit is they're saying that we are going to then build the labor, the human force. Because the 24-hour economy is anchored on these 3 things. We do politics. But there are certain times when, and listen, if you are doing politics and your politics is being driven by the interest of the state, then you know when to oppose and when to support. You just don't oppose for opposition's sake, because you ought to do responsible politics. I said last time, and I'm saying it again, MPP's usefulness to the development of politics in this Ghana was felt most when they were in opposition. Between 1992, please let me learn on this. Between 1992 and 2000, when MPP led the advocacy or activism that saw a radical transformation in how democracy was done in this country. They can be very useful to the country still, not just by when they have power, but even when they are in opposition. That is by granting quality and responsible opposition. You do not oppose anything. 24-hour economy has just become law. As the people, what must we do? We must, as of now, lend our support to this institution that has been created, to this agenda that has been set. You understand? Lend all our support. If you criticize with the interest of the country at heart. not with your Machiavellian tactics attacks. And let's
serious exception to that.
Listen. You can take exception to.
I'm not surprised. NDC are shouting more than the honourable here.
I said so,
but he's taking the matter. But he is going personal. How do you expect that? So you love Ghana more than everybody.
Yeah, I love Ghana more than you. Yes. So let me end. By saying that
you have ended more than 200 times.
If there's a time for us to come together as a country, the time is now.
Okay.
The law is just one day. Let us support.
We should clap
leadership. You understand? Let us support leadership and let's ensure that we create an economy which can meet our collective aspirations. We can ensure.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's bring Prof in now. Prof, let's hear from Prof. Prof, you are the economist, and I'm sure you've assessed this.
You are here criticizing. Wait for the period to end.
I'm not criticizing.
Then you can talk.
I'm saying that based on what you've done so far, I do not see that you've done anything, which is my opinion.
Why would you say something that has just
I do not have the good of the country at heart? It is ridiculous.
Prof, I suggest
you also let the MPP because the delegates voted against the leader. So you go and form a party to support NDC and you are here behaving like you love Ghana more than everybody.
Prof, let's hear from you.
Allow Prof.
All right, Prof.
We come here to serve you.
Prof is all of us our lectures.
I'm confused as to what he's saying. I don't know how much they are paying.
Okay, guys. You are criticizing what is not there.
All right, Prof, let's
shame me. You are the one who has misbehaved this morning.
We come here to serve your customers. So that's why you assemble all of us to come and discuss.
Yeah.
So there are times we should be charitable with our words and
some of the things we say.
Because they are very important. They listen to us, they make notes, and they also try to make references to what we say. So we find a balance when we do this. I won't come to you. Let me pour water into what is happening.
Nothing's happening.
I'm waiting for my time to respond.
One person. Just water on one person.
It's on you.
Allow you to have. So
whatever NDC gave you this morning, it's really satisfactory
to
you.
Help our listeners to get the opportunity. You know, a government was previously.
It has given you a lot of
a very good one.
Let's let him talk.
Please. Prof is talking. I want to hear Prof.
Came out with
say something.
The reform plan.
Yeah.
A strategy of then this administration. Then we knew they had good plans. Anytime a government is voted for, obviously will have good intentions, not to come and destroy the country. So we don't have a problem when a government has, or before administration, had a fantastic idea of 24-hour economy. There's nothing wrong with that. It is implementation that is where we have an issue. The government has 4 years. 1 year was in the room trying to put things together. After 1 year, decide to adore the baby and says that today I have signed. We are left to how many years now?
3.
Let's assume 2 years or 3 years.
2028, you'll be campaigning.
All right? 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
We shouldn't forget. Within the next 2 years, 1 year will be used for campaign actively by the same administration. Very soon, when they start their primaries and start their tenor elections, you then see the momentum. That is where I have a problem. Your flagship program is taking 1 year before takeoff. You're in the second year. You have 2 years. You have 1 year for active campaign. So let's hold on and hope and pray it materializes. The signing of the 24-hour bill yesterday was symbolically powerful. But you see, economic transformation is not produced by only legislations alone. It's produced by incentives, infrastructure, and institutions. These are the basic things that it will produce. Let's see our fundamental problem as a country. When I saw the document from the beginning, during before the elections, for me it was awesome. One, because we have done some diagnostics to see the challenge as a country we have.
Yeah.
Ghana indeed operates under below capacity. 5 o'clock, you have closed. Some institutions, the ports, the services, and the rest, they operate below capacity.
Yeah.
So a policy that is going to target productivity, not job alone, in any day, I will embrace. Now, look at the signing yesterday. What happened? I've seen the sectorial logic is sound. One, priorities to some areas. Which areas? We have the manufacturing, agro-businesses, agro-processing, health, transportation, logistics, hospitality, and retail. These are the areas. It tells you something, that where a sector where time is of essence, these are the places they want to prioritize. It is good. The signing yesterday had an investor signaling. Beyond our borders, those investors who heard this yesterday will be preparing by now what is going to happen in this country. But you see, good economics or good economy begins where slogan ends. Good economics begins where slogans end. I think we should be tired of slogans now as a country. We change the emphasis of it. A policy you want to legislate night work without pricing the night. It's not a problem. You want to legislate night work, but then you find it difficult to price that night. Check the entire document yourself.
Doc, I don't understand. Explain it well.
No, I'll come to that.
All right.
Check the entire document well. We had so something 24 something.
24.
They have Grow 24, Make 24,
Make 24,
Build 24, Show 24, Connect 24,
economics,
Fund 24.
Begins where slogan ends. We should be tired of these nomenclatures and all that. And start the implementation properly. You want to do a program. Now we have been told they need 4 billion?
Yeah, over the next 5 years.
For the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you have the money now?
No, even the money they budgeted last year, they did not give the full amount.
Do we have the money now?
I mean, they say the money is like
I'm only asking
from private sector.
I'm asking questions. Because one policy, look at the nomenclatures given over the period. Now we have decided to add plus to it. It started before, the election time. We're all laughing in the country. 24-hour economy, Pudon, all those things. When you do that to a policy, you have a problem from the implementation phase. I will be happy in any day that this materializes because you are not targeting only employment, but productivity, which is key. Look at the youth in our country. So when you want to come out with a policy that will address the needs of the ordinary Ghanaian, why wouldn't you be happy? But the point is that the dreamer should be able to have timelines, have the cost plan available. You tell me you need 4 billion. The source of the fund, where is it going to come from? We have shifted several goalposts. Now we have left the policy, they're going to be driven by ordinary. The government will provide the platform for you, and you will come in and fill the gap. From the beginning, that was not the concept that we knew. It changed. And also when Honorable said, when you go to DVLA today, they're operating 24-hour economy. When you go to passport office, they're operating 24-hour economy. Okay, super. It's a change of shift, right? So today, at 12 o'clock, I'll go to DVLA and go and take my passport, my license. Today, at 12 o'clock midnight, I'll go to passport office and go and find how many staffs are there. That's what I'm going to do. My insights for today. Because Honorable tells me today that when you go to DVLA, when you go to passport office, the institutions are running already 24-hour economy. Before the passage of the law or whatever, they've been operating. Under which law?
Have they employed more people? Sorry.
Maximizing the time.
No, have they employed more people?
So, were we waiting for the law to be passed to formalize the operations, or we started operating already? So, Ghanaians will be able to tell. You are a journalist. How many people have queued or have been to DVLA, going to take their lances at 1 p.m. or 12 o'clock midnight? Have you heard it before, Ghana? But we have been claimed. That's what is happening. We should find a better way of implementing. See the document, the policy. For me, I have read the document, and I'm on platform to have said, if Ghana will want to move forward, let's pick something from the policy document. The problem is having the document and the implementation. Between the document and the implementation, that is where the challenge is. And remember, the next 4 years, we have 1 year is already gone. Ghanaians cannot wait again.
Yeah, but I mean, just on the back of the fact that you appreciate this is a laudable project, do you think maybe we should go beyond what we've done, legislating it, establishing an authority, and introducing a certain mechanism to make it binding on successive governments so that we can stick to this because of the benefit that we are likely to get from it?
Legislation alone, I said it's good. In my intro, I said legislation alone cannot produce the economy that we need. It's left to the 2-3 things I mentioned: institutions, incentives, and infrastructure. There's nothing wrong to have a legislator to back it, which is good. We institutionalize it. So any administration or government that comes should be able to find a way to operate within and implement things. It is fantastic. The problem we have is that as a country, young people are waiting for jobs. Young people on the streets. Today, the practical thing that we are talking about, there's a gap of 1,100 some cocoa farmers that needs to be paid. That is 6,600 against 2,500. It's a hanging the necks of this administration. It is fine. You take assets, you take liabilities. There's nothing wrong. But I'm saying that the policy document looked fantastic and was symbolic yesterday. And the signing alone, international community. Today, various investors will be watching what happened yesterday. It is good. But then beyond this rhetoric, we should be able to find a way to implement it. Because look, if you promise the youth out there jobs, 1, 2, 3 years, the same administration will come under attack. And so we sit here today, it is fine, flamboyant. We are fine. We defend and defend and defend. But let me tell you, give yourself the next 1 year. This administration will be hot if they are unable to implement it. Because don't worry why it's a good thing.
What if they are able to implement?
Oh no, I'm saying that we are saying if. I said that, look, it's good this thing works. We don't always pray that bad thing will happen. No. We are here talking because we are trying to find a better way to fine-tune the document and make sure this government sit up and implement. That's all that we are trying to do. When you create job, I get the benefits. My brother also will get the benefits out of this. So we are saying that there must be commitment to this. And anytime you measure a policy, you don't measure a policy just because one leg is fulfilled. It's a chain, it's a process. From the fashioning of the document or the policy to the implementation phase. That is a commitment. Within a few months, when they start their primaries, go back, you sit here, check the same policy.
Well, Honorable, let me come to you.
Thank you very much. You see,
Yeah, just briefly so that we
very briefly
get into.
Thank you very much. Well, in this country, when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government decided to borrow money, all they did with the money was to organize public party here and there. We are saying that these...
Which party?
I mean, it's interesting. He said
were we not here when they go borrow money and then all they do is finance minister come and organize kinky party? We're not here when we are watching and all those things.
Yesterday, the farmers were hungry in Jubilee House. You were having a party.
Because
the women in Jubilee House were having
Isn't it shameful for you to borrow money and celebrate? Not because you've made profit and you are celebrating.
Hey, you two, you can't pay cocoa farmers. You were having a party in Jubilee House yesterday.
Hold on. Listen.
There are videos for all of us.
These policies, these very beautiful policy that we have today, signed to law, you see, it's just like when you have the national, if you like, law, constitution. For everything you want to do, you hinge it on the constitution. You pick an LI to guide what you want to do. For example, if you take the productivity aspect of it, okay, you will now pick which area you want to deal with. If it is agro-processing, if it is cassava you want to process, if it is plantain you want to process, then you build a strategy, implementable strategy that is tailored to that particular thing, supported by the guidance of the government and the policy document that have been signed to law by government. Then you support that with the incentives in terms of money, in terms of personalities, to be able to implement it successfully. Now listen, if we sign this to law, and we are criticizing why we don't have jobs now, I wonder how you want to count from 10 before you get to 1. We are able to take time to prepare a document that I'm sure we are all applauding today. Excellent. Implementation begins. When the implementation begins and you have an idea, you come and advise the government. We are listening government. The point is this. We are saying that 24-hour economy is already running, for example, at DVLA. You don't want to say you want to go and register your car 1 a.m., 1 p.m., 1 a.m. The point we're saying is that the process for registering car begins and it runs 24/7. So if your registering of car would have taken 7 days, now it's going to take about 2 days because the process never stopped running, and so you get results earlier. Number two. All these things that we're doing, all the agro-processings that we're going to do, all the cocoa beans that we want to process, it is human beings that will do it.
There was an interesting question that came up.
That?
Yes, you indicated that you are running 24 hours a DVLA passport already. The bottom line is jobs. Do you know how many jobs were?
No, of course. So I cannot sit here today right now and tell you that. Who says we've not employed people? Okay. Have you been there? Have you seen the statistics? Have you seen the job? Have you
are you familiar with the number of people that have been employed?
No, I don't have the number, but I know we've employed a lot of people. Of course, this government having come to power over 1 year, you can't sit here and say we've not employed anybody. We've employed a lot of people into this economy.
But
the problem you have is that you have the problem of having patience to listen to others.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm listening, Honorable. I'm listening.
Can you learn that? It's a very good
Honorable, so land for me. So we can hear from.
So the point I'm making to you is that the 24-hour economy is a game changer. Is a policy that has been signed to law that will change our production, sector, will change our demand sector, will create a lot of market. Everybody will say, where is demand? MPP slogan, where is the demand? You create demand for what you produce by opening yourself to the global village we all find ourselves in. You don't sit at home, go to work and come organize KK party and think you're going to get a demand. You create demand. That's what we do. The 24-hour economy policy is a game changer, and I am calling on everybody to come and support His Excellency Mahama in implementing the 24-hour economy that have been passed to law. See, when you rushed into program like the free SHS, you rush out because you didn't plan well.
All right,
planning is important. Implementation is what is going to be successful when planning is properly done. It's simple.
All right,
so we plan.
We'll hear more
policy
about
is out. Implementation excellent.
Assessment
excellent
of 1 year.
So let me
one year
also
of the president. We'll hear more about it.
I thought you're going to ask me that.
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
The bottom line is this whole idea of 24-hour economy was about jobs. It is not about grammar or whatever that is. So if
you can't just be creating when I
interrupted you, you did not like it. So please do the same.
Let
me continue. Yes. So if you want to sit here and confidently say you are running this 24, you are running this 2020, you have to be able to tell us that you have actually employed three shifts. Meaning, if you had one group, you've employed 2 more cohorts such that they are running a cycle of 3 shifts, because that is what you promised. The end goal of 24-hour economy to a Ghanaian is jobs. So if you have not done that, and it's the people that are existing there that are now running a shift, I beg to tell you, you have not done anything. And for NDC Annex praising the document so much and so much and so much, I want to just read something a little for you, that this 24-hour economy document, it's not magic that has come out of the NDC. So Ghana already has a constitutionally mandated vehicle for comprehensive development programs, the Coordinated Program of Economic and Social Development Policies, CPESDP, which every president must present to Parliament under Article 36(5). Successive CPESDs 2010 to 2016, 2014 to 2020, 2017 to 2024, and 2021 to 2025 cover the same ground as the policy that we are all sitting here clapping about. In fact, people are so overjoyed about it that they think they care about Ghana more than anybody because they are getting something from the government to just come and toe the line.
No,
but this document, it is not new. As I've said, we can go and find this document from 2010 to 2016. So if it's about praising documents, there's nothing to praise here. The bottom line for the people of Ghana, the bottom line for young people outside, and nobody is sitting here hoping that the 24-hour economy fails. I am saying that based on what they have done so far, based on the promises they made, I am not holding my breath to see that it will come to fruition. Because they are saying just by the end of this year, they are going to, it doesn't even say by, it says by 2026. So we can give them grace and say they mean December, that they are going to employ 750,000 people. Their Minister of Employment and Labour has come out to say that he even has a problem employing 40,000 people to pay them. So how can I not confidently sit here and say that even the places that you are running 24-hour economy, I can tell you for a fact, you haven't employed 2 more groups of people to make it the 24-hour economy you promised us. And if it's about the document that you want us to cry and clap for you with sycophancy and bootlicking, you will not get that because it is not an original document. You have copied as far back as 2010. In fact, all the 8 pillars that Mahama has mirror these themes almost word for word. Grow 24 echoes agricultural modernization. Make 24 repeats industrial transformation. Go 24 rehashes export-led growth. The difference is a catchy 24-hour label and political
one would say, well, it's still the NDC plan.
No, it goes as far back as 2010. It is the 2010 to 2016, 2017 to 2024, 2021 to 2025. It is not just one. It is like a policy document that there's a consistency
with their plan.
Yes, it is building on something that already exists, and I wouldn't have gone here. It is the attempt by one of the panelists to say that this document is some magic that has dropped out of heaven, and so we should all worship and jump because it is something that is so out of the ordinary. And I'm saying even that is not out of the ordinary. And to the average Ghanaian, if you want to be holier than thou, more interested in Ghana than everybody, the focus is jobs. How many jobs have you created? When we come and sit here and you've created 2 million jobs, almost all the youth are employed, then you can talk in the tone that you are talking. But till then, come on, come down your high horse.
All right, great. Councillor, I want you to start from the CD.
No.
It's linked to it. It's linked to it.
I wish you give me 1 second.
The CD did an extensive
when the 1992 Constitution...
Honourable, just
1 second. I beg you, 1 second. When the 1992 Constitution Article 25
I'm coming.
Make provision for free education, you came to this country and say you are the one who brought the free education.
Honourable, just briefly. I want you to start
1992 Constitution.
And I want to
when we're writing those constitutions, you aborted it, and then you were running all over the place, organizing the Kumi Praku demonstration.
Please, your microphone is off. Your microphone is off. Now, I want you to expand it a bit for me so that we can just progress it a bit, okay? Now, CDD did an extensive assessment of the president's 1 year. And, of course, the 24-hour economy was also captured in it. They also spoke about job creation, and they did an assessment in terms of the job creation efforts by the government, and they did emphasize on 24-hour economy. But beyond that, it also spoke about the environment, all right? It spoke about Galamsey, government fights against Galamsey, and the effort towards that. They did identify some weaknesses in that. They talk about corruption within the system being the weakest link in the fight against Galamsey, all right? They also spoke about internal security, citing Boko and a few other chieftaincy disputes that are in the country. Okay, so they did an extensive, I'm sure you heard it and you saw it. I just want you to touch on that, what you want to say, and extend to that for me, and I also hear from Prof. 3 minutes. You understand? We've got a few minutes, so give me 3 minutes.
So the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all its righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you. When it comes to managing the economy, you seek ye first the transformation of the economy, and all other things shall be added unto you. So when you read our constitution, there is a chapter 6, which sets an agenda for all governments. And so there's an economic agenda. So all the things my sister is reading is aspirational, and it flows from the chapter 6 of our 1992 constitution. You understand? As in this agro transformation is aspirational. Economic transformation is aspirational. You understand? What we have is, for the first time, we have a government that has institutionalized
that aspiration,
the implementation. You understand? That whose focus is to take us in fulfilling of that aspiration.
Thank you.
What we have to do is to critique. I'm not saying criticize. Is to critique. And she says document. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about the law, because it's not law. I'm not talking about their 24-hour economic document. I'm talking about the law that was passed and the purpose and objective of that law. That's what I'm praising.
Great.
Please, let me land.
Please land now, so that you can move on.
So for me, the only critique I have about the law as it stands now, and I hope that the authority, because they've created an authority, an authority's job is to implement, is to create institutions, is to, I'm sure they'll pass LIs, you understand, to enable them fulfill. If there's one thing I'll just add, that you must look at the SME. And when I say looking at the SME, then the SME needs two things. One, they need technical support, and two, they need financial support. And you see, I know we've handed over our GTP to you, but when you just go to 1.8 of our GTP, we proposed that for us to, because you see, when you are talking about creating jobs, it's not like Adabaka, it's not like a magic. You must deliberately make policies that will engender, and history has taught us that one of the fundamental institutions that is noted to create jobs is the SME. When you go to USA and to Australia, not the big economies, SMEs are known to create more than 70% of all the jobs.
So, land for me.
Honorable 1.8. It says that government must increase financing for small and medium scale enterprise. So you must direct banks. So you must use your power of monetary policy. So you have the power of fiscal policy. I'm sure that one the authority will deal with. That's the incentives you're talking about. But beyond that, Bank of Ghana can direct through law to allocate the equivalent of a minimum of 10% of the bank's profit after tax to the provision of new collateral-free concessionary lending to targeted SMEs engaged in import substitution. So there's a whole. Now, when you do that, then you build your SMEs, then the jobs. No, I said that the Bible says that seek ye for the kingdom of God. So so the focus of the 24-hour economy is not just about the job creation is a byproduct, like the creation of wealth. But the focus of the 24-hour economy is to bring about economic transformation.
Great.
Once you have economic transformation, then jobs will be a byproduct of
now. On the CDD,
will be a byproduct. The CDD so have
on the Galamsey issue and
on the Galamsey issue. The most important thing is that we know that there was a government that passed a law, and that's a factual issue. So don't do this. There was a government in this country that factually passed a law that gave the president power to enter into our forest reserves. That's factual.
So what's your assessment of the government? Do you agree with them?
Now we have a new government, and the CDD is saying that reference to that has repealed that law. You know the impact of that. Also, the CDD's report says that, and it says, I think the page on governance, that you have a government. So let me read. This is so you know it's fact. I'm not stating an opinion here. It says that the John Mahama administration came into office at a time when the quality of Ghana's democracy, as reflected in several good governance indices and surveys, that's the Mo Ibrahim Index of African Governance, Corruption Perception Index, pointed to a democracy facing major challenges. The Round 10 Afrobarometer report on Ghana shows that while support for democracy has fluctuated over the years, satisfaction with democracy has declined by 31 percentage points since 2017. You understand? So what this is telling me is that under the watch of Nana Akufo-Addo, governance was so bad that the people of Ghana lost complete confidence in the ability of constitutional democracy to deliver their aspirations, and it led to the drop in the whooping 31%. That is a third. If you take 3 people, a third of 31%. You understand? So if I didn't read anything about what's it called, the CDD, just what this is saying tells me that at least steps are being taken that will reset the confidence the people have in the ability of good governance to deliver on the promises of democracy.
All right, thank you, Prof.
On CDD,
so Prof, please do this for me.
On CDD scorecard. This is not.
We all have to have time.
No,
tell me the time is finished. You cannot tell us that.
On the score.
And so we have 33 minutes, so let's do that.
This is not a partisan.
And you also give me 3 minutes because not they had.
So you just finished.
No, you know when people went around, I didn't get mine. So then when you go around, I have to have my 3 minutes.
You're not going to have any 3 minutes. You're not saying anything.
Please.
That's you also have 5 minutes.
Prof, please go on.
Well, on the scorecard, this is not a partisan score. Score settlement exercise. It was about more evidence-based score. They asked a simple question: has the Mahama's administration reset agenda delivered in terms of security, cohesion, and I'm sure environmental control?
Good governance.
Good governance. So what's more of independent assessor assessing an administration? So we have to subject the entire report into our discussions. We cannot say we've had bad report or all good report. Let's look at the report in its entirety. You know, the timing of the signals. We have had this administration, the President of Ghana, publicly recognizing the governance decay over a period. We've had this administration open engagement with CSOs about decentralization, security matters, galamsey issues openly. We've seen the willingness of this administration reversing some bad decisions in the past. In the case of SML, a typical case, reversing those decisions. So it gives you a mental picture of an administration trying to be accountable, inclusive, and ensure that there's a reset agenda. That's fine. We have also seen the Constitutional Committee revised. And we have also seen this Assembly Common Fund. We have been told that about 80%.
And that is true.
For some time.
And that is true.
I cannot confirm that these are the things that we hear. We are subjecting the report of CDD to consideration. So clearly, we've seen structures are being discussed here with these 4 things I have mentioned. But you also see that I have had issues with this whole 2 issues you mentioned, the ethnic conflicts and Galamsey. That's where we have the downsides.
Yeah.
You know, governance is not judged by intention, but by outcomes. Governance is not judged by intentions, but outcomes. I have had people who have said, well, the government is 1 year. Why are you brutal on this administration? Just 1 year in administration. But you see, if a government with 2/3 majority in parliament cannot take decisive actions, when the political, will or political capital is highest, when will it be? We are starting with two issues here.
Yeah.
Ethnic conflicts, and they mentioned Boko, they mentioned the northern corridors, the flashy points. So I see two issues here with the key issue we brought. One is a silent failure on ethnic conflicts, and the other one, the most dangerous one, is the Galamsey menace. We have security issues at our hands now. Sometimes it's difficult to detect the warning signs. That's why I have a problem. It's difficult to detect early warning signs when they're about to happen. We're here, one guy from Russia walked into our country, took our ladies hostage. Immediately afterwards, we issue a press statement telling the Russian people or whatever, we did not have any idea what was going to happen. The case that I mentioned, the Burkina and all that, we didn't have any warning signs. But we've had this issue on our neck for some time. So when CDD tells us the downside of this administration, you've seen two things: the ethnic conflicts, the Galamsey-related matters. We did a press conference some time ago, 6 months, Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. The government performed woefully in these two areas, environmental issues. Now, if you check that of Galamsey issue, where they had problem with that.
Yeah, and Prof, please blend it for me.
You know, we have been told of reforms by this administration for a very long time. We have been told by reforms. The two things, Galamsey and ethnic conflict. Ghana is governed in silence. These two issues. Reforms touted all over. But on these two issues, Ghana is governed in silence.
Interesting. Well,
Honorable. Well, okay, Honorable, you need to do this briefly for me. You need to touch, because you haven't touched on the CDD report. Okay, but we've satisfied the rounds that we are supposed to do. Okay, we've got, everybody had their rounds.
I also haven't touched on CDD.
Yeah, so my producer says I should just allow you to touch on it briefly. Then Doc, you also touch on it briefly. Okay, so she just do that for me.
The CDD report.
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay,
yeah.
I think that it doesn't matter how independent you are in going into a particular exercise, especially when it comes to research.
Yeah.
Every individual or institution would have some idea of expectance before going into any research.
2%.
And the results you get, it will either confirm your doubt or not. The CDD are made of human beings who are going in to do these particular things, the research they did. I am not here as an individual to downplay their report or their opinion that they formed about the research they did. But you see, one thing must be clear. Nobody, no individual in this country will go around blaming His Excellency Mahama for Galamsey issues. When you had the government who passed law law allowing people to enter our forests to go and mine, destroy our forest. You know, one thing that took me back and I always feel very bad about, when you see your sector minister reprimanding Akonta mining for doing illegal mining, okay? Then the president himself, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, go to stand at Kumasi publicly, shouting on top of the roof that Akonta mining is not doing any galamsey. Akonta mining is doing, mining that the president allowed him to do. That alone, you are empowering the wrongdoing, and that's why we saw the devastation and the destruction of our forest bodies, our water bodies, and so much like that.
But some will say that is why they were voted out of power.
So listen,
today Akonta mining is in court.
So today, you've seen another government, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We've repealed that law. We've taken that wrongdoing out. Then you see a study into these two situations that says that the one who had repealed that law, discouraging people from going into that act, is downturned in that practice, then I have problem with the kind of results that you got from that research.
No, so what they say is that...
problem.
Honorable, what they say is that they do recognize the achievement government has,
within the illegal mining sector.
They do recognize the achievement they've chalked in that sector, the repeal of the law, establishment of NIMOS, the Blue Water Guards, and a few other initiatives. They do recognize that, but they also raise concerns about, for instance, prosecution of individuals that have been arrested. They say there's been just about 4% in terms
because
of the
half of them are party members.
All right. They also talk about
people.
The percentage.
I advised you didn't take that.
But you also did it to me.
So Honorable, just listen to me. So they also talk about you've arrested in excess of 400 people. You prosecuted about 33 of them. They say that hasten the prosecution. They say that the champagnes and other things, when you seize them, they wonder where do they end up. Then they say, well, although you are doing all of this, galamsey is still persistent. So they say they want you to step up your efforts.
Thank you very much. You see, when you have a government that used 8 years focusing on destroying our water bodies and our forest reserve, and you are asking 1 year, there's somebody in government for 1 year to stop it entirely, then you're not being fair. I agree. Of course, we're all fighting to make sure that galamsey is stopped and all that. That's fine. But listen.
Yeah, please learn from me so that I just...
The ethnic conflicts, okay?
Okay.
Let us not behave as if it started when His Excellency Mahama took over power. Let's not behave like that. At least, if anything at all, today, there's some subtle level of peace and sanity in Boko, thanks to His Majesty, the owner of Asante Kingdom, Nana Otumfuo Osei. Look, I am saying to you that when we all give our support and our minds to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his administration and the way he's going, Ghana will have a better future tomorrow. And so let us stop this. The best way to deal with this country is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing. We want people to critique constructively. We don't want people to come and lambast and lament because there is some level of politics everybody had to do. But we saw 8 years destruction. We are resetting this country. The resetting agenda is on course, and we will succeed. There is no two ways.
All right, thank you.
You are resetting
the report never indicated that this government has failed.
Yes, exactly.
It says intuitively the research agenda is incomplete.
Yes, yes.
It's incomplete.
Yes.
It can't be complete when our tenure of office
that's
not
fair.
complete.
That's fair.
Do you understand?
And they are still confused. They think they are still in campaign period. You have come into government.
Do you know we have a forest called Nanado Forest for Galamsey? We have a forest called Nanado Forest for Galamsey.
Honorable, you are here saying, you know I can heckle very well. Let's
your power is off.
So I'm going to, it will ex tempo. What I'm saying right now is that they always assume they are in campaign season or that we are children and they can tell us whatever it is. And right now, you have arrested Chairman Winton, he's in court. if there's anything wrong, it's up to you to do it, isn't it? But what is happening right now is you are arresting people. When you arrest them, you take money and you let them go, and so the prosecution rate is very low. You are legalizing.
That's a very vague.
And you know the way that this country, it's somewhere in that report. The way that they operate, I'll not be surprised if BNI is down there waiting for me for this thing that I've said. Let's go on, because that's just how recklessly they are running.
No, but you cannot substantiate.
No, they did that.
But just to be fair.
It's in the report. Unfortunately, now my battery is dead. But you know, another issue that is going on that is very interesting. It is only they that have legalized the operations of champagne machines to the point that you pay 6,000 and you are allowed to operate with impunity, covered under there. Yes, I'm sure they are waiting for me. I know that when you give yourself to the service of the country, sometimes you will be in BNI. They are doing all of this as well, taking money from these people so that they can operate these champagne machines. These are very serious things that are going on that nobody is talking about. We can also talk about this actual LI and the reason why it was implemented, but obviously we do not have enough time to do this. Most of these forest reserves, now you've repealed the LI. Recently we went on a campaign tour, so I had the opportunity to tour a lot of these Galamsey areas, and I can tell you that people are still in the forest mining. Whenever people are arrested, it's either a constituency chairman of NDC and a DCE. They've legalized the system and they are running it in such a way that it is bringing them money, and that is the issue right now that nobody should talk about, because they are enjoying some goodwill and they are in power and they've repealed the LI, so we should all clap for them. And my last issue on this matter of United Party and
please do that.
Constantly need to drag His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa into their problems. If he was so bad, why did your founder work for him for 7 years? So if you can move on, do your party, do whatever it is.
But that's why you have to
know that your mates right now.
Better late than never. That's why they run away. Better late than never. That's why they run away.
For more than 7 years. We were asking him to resign.
Unfortunately,
thank you so much for coming. Council, thank you so much for coming and for your patience. And Doc, thank you so much. Honorable, thank you so much. Well, that has been the news review. The show continues. Please stay with us.
Hello, Ashley Levy, and you're welcome to E-Corner. Guess what? I'm sitting in for Noella Karniali, who's just been appointed the Public Relations Officer for Unimark GIG. I think we're all proud of her. She's doing amazing. So, as a part of the show where we give you the stories that made headlines on the timelines, people have been talking. And the first of this kind is a story behind me, where a Russian national comes to our country, and guess what? He films women. He has a certain strong rapport. He feels he's a very strong guy. He goes just on the street, finds anybody he can find, and I don't know the word to use. It's not coerce, but he sort of has a way of getting people attracted to him naturally. He meets you by the roadside. He just says, follow me. More like how Jesus was doing to the disciples, And they follow him. And guess what? They follow him to the point where he even sometimes takes them to his house and they have sex. If that was just the case, we would have been fine with it. But guess what? He goes the extra mile to record these people without their knowledge. In fact, how does he do it? He wears an intelligent spectacles. Of course, now that Meta has released the ones Ray-Bans with cameras on it, he wears it. And throughout this entire, lavadosis process, he's recording. I mean, if you had recorded it, it's not decent, but you could have just kept it to yourself. He goes ahead to share it online. And then you got everybody talking. Not one woman, not two, not three, a lot of women. In fact, I must be honest and let you know that some of the ladies in question that he met, not everybody got to be in his bed, But this is the trend of event, just so you know. 13th February, the videos popped up online. It got all of us really talking and just checking that, Charlie. We pray that our family member or our friend or our favorite influencer is not there. Then on 17th of February, Honorable Sam George was very angry about it. And of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was also very angry. So guess what? What did we do as a country? We summoned the Russian ambassador to answer some questions to this. I'll be going to Razak Musbah to pick his thoughts about this guy's strategy that he's using to get ladies to be in bed with him. On the 18th, what happens? We take the extra mile to then want to get him on Interpol red list, a red notice, where he's now a wanted fugitive, where we are looking for him. But guess what happens? Yesterday, which is the shock of the story, the Russian ambassador made everybody aware that, well, they will not get him extradited into the country. And it got everybody really talking. In fact, why does this make the headlines? It makes the headline because we've all been around, we've seen how some of our very own nationals, Abu Trika, and many people have been extradited to the other side because they were engaged in some romance scam. So why then does Russia have the effrontery and the balls, to say that we will not extradite, our own person? Because they feel that the Russian, and this is what the ambassador stated, the Russian constitution supersedes every other treaty, extradition treaty it has with any other country. So it got somebody to write something wild on Twitter. And the lady, I'm sorry, I couldn't get you that comment, but it was a Kenyan. And just so you know, this Russian guy didn't operate just in Ghana. He operated in Ghana and in Kenya as well. So he got Kenyan ladies to sleep with them. Razak, in a period where we seem to be giving out our passports for free, and when other nationals come into our country, we treat them as princes. In fact, there's this, I don't know, razzmatazz we give to white people. Oh, Brony, we give them that comfort. Lots of them have testified that Ghana is a good place to be. But if somebody takes the extra mile to go and now, commit a crime, and we are now wanting to pull the laws on him, but his country says that we don't get to bring him down. I mean, you can give your people away, but we won't give you. How does that sit with you?
It's very unfortunate. It's an unfortunate incident that happened. It's completely unacceptable to have recorded the people without consent. These are matured individuals. You interacted with them. You appear to have expressed interest in them. And some of them, maybe out of just honest interest in you, they reciprocated your interaction. And it's just unfortunate that they decided to record it without their consent. It's great that the government was trying to, do something about it. If there was an opening to extradite him and bring him to the country to face the law, it would have been brilliant for that to have taken place. But it's unfortunate that for Russia, they have such stance that they will not extradite their citizen to any other country, all right? So it's unfortunate that, but it's great the position government has taken, and it sends a signal to all other individuals who are even thinking of doing that if you come here, 1, 2, 3 ladies reported, you'll be arrested. The laws of Ghana will take its due course. And I think the response has been excellent. But it also means that we should be extra careful in how we relate with people that, strangers. You should be careful. You see somebody wearing glasses these days, be careful.
Be careful.
The glasses could be recording you.
Yeah.
So be careful.
You make a very fair point.
Yeah.
All right. Another story that got people really talking yesterday is, we lost our very own legend, Yao Sapon. Very sad. We all love him. Say, I don't know much of Tree Song, but that I know for sure. And guess what? At his 1 week observation, Musica was there. And Musica, which is the body that houses all musicians in Ghana, donated 500 CDs. It got people really talking. Well, initially, when I saw the story, when the story broke, I didn't think much of it as a big deal because this is just the 1 week observation. Hey, if they are given 500 for 1 week, perhaps they have bigger plans of doing better, maybe 5,000, maybe 50,000. We never know. But then, on the flip side, it makes the headline because everybody knows how Musica has sort of been unfair to musicians. We've had people like Shatawale coming for their neck and all of that. So it got people really talking. And these are some of the comments that got people buzzing on the timeline. Sika Beba says that this be roadside donation. Maybe brown envelope will follow later sometimes. Yeah, I sort of side with Sika that this is just the 1 week observation. Let's give it time, Let's give time some time. Maybe they're going to do better, Then we have Anani Suarez who says that what they vex me be say, then get a nerve stake mic announced for stage. A whole musician union of Ghana donating just 500 CDs to support a legend like Patapa. It's kind of disgusting. Wow. And for him, of course, the video that trended was they announcing on stage because it's a tradition. If you go to a funeral or Okobonsa, it has to be announced, So I just thought they were probably fulfilling custom. But Anani Suarez once again, makes the point that I'm going to skip Anani and go to Evoke Atelier, who says that they call Shatawale disrespectful and arrogant for fighting these so-called gatekeepers to fight for the right things for our musician and music industry. Now we see the effect. Yao Sapon Pona 500 na You guys. Why do you? That's my boy, Potter Peasy. Why do you do that? You know, it got people really talking because we all respect and honor Yao Sapon, and we all felt that, you know, the greater mass have felt that Yao Sapon should be given something more befitting. Razak, what do you make of music guy? You know, I mean.
Charlie, give them their money back.
It's literally.
This guy is representing Shatawale, is representing Sarkodie. It's the union that represents all the musicians in Ghana. 500 Ghana cedis. Wow. They should give their money back to them. They shouldn't come to the funeral. We will do our own funeral.
Oh.
No.
Maybe let's hold on to the funeral.
No, we will not accept 500 Ghana cedis. It's as simple as that. Then you come and announce it on top. No. They give their money back to them. We should give their money back to them.
Mr. Simon and his team are solid people.
Yeah,
let's wait for the comeback. They may do it.
One is 500 Ghana.
All right, moving on to probably our last story is Alabaster Box suing Medical 50 million for sampling. You know, if you've listened to Welcome, as I sing in church, ways on low, Aquaba, popular, you know, Zimbe, we know that part of the song. Medical used it in his new song, Aquaba, and Alabaster Box felt that, hey, you shouldn't, you know, cross boundaries, you know. And so it got them really talking. And an update to that is that they reached out to Medical as an artist that, oh, let's talk it out, you know. But guess what? Medical didn't reach out, and he sent a middleman. And so that they felt compelled, okay, to also send a middleman. Unfortunately for Alabaster Box, unfortunately, that middleman was a lawyer. And then the situation took a, you know, funny turn. But Razak, that's basically all we have. But this one, guess what? Could you probably guess Kwaukesi's favorite gospel song?
Kwaukesi, Rastama.
Yeah.
Some way.
All right, we have Kwaukesi's favorite song. Yeah, I was going to get it for you. Take a listen.
You won't push me for
Brenda!
I see. It's a lot.
Oh, like one.
One big. But
apart from Ghana,
from a musician or from normal.
From normal.
Akpena mau. Yehowa meka fowoda. Akpena mau. Akpena mau. Yehowa meka fowoda.
You don't believe in that, eh? Oh, Charlie is a nice one.
I don't believe that is his favorite gospel song.
Razak, I'm told that there's somebody who has
I mean, since yesterday, in fact, throughout the week, we've been raising funds for a lady in the central, in the Hunter, in Hunter, in Takoradi. And she has a brain tumor. There are about 6 tumors that we've been raising 70,000 Ghana cedis to do the surgery for her. 70,000 Ghana cedis is what is needed to do the surgery for her. She's the one, at the moment, she can't do anything by herself. She's been aided by her mother, and she's the one that is being aided. Wow. And as we speak now, our viewers have been very charitable, raised to the tune of 58,000 Ghana cedis.
Beautiful.
Left with just 12,000 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
In fact, we want to raise more so that after the surgery, she can have something to take care. Wow. Because post-surgery is a very critical stage. All right?
Is there a number we can...
Yeah, so Samuel Kojo Brace, currently in Takoradi, his number is what we are sending the money to. 024 62 11148. So 0246 21 1148. 0246 211148. In fact, the last 3 days we raised to the tune of 58,000.
Beautiful.
12,000 is what is left. Okay, Honorable Vondi, who was on News Review, also did give his donation, about 2,000 cedis. We appreciate him for that. So please send the money to the number as you hear it, 0246 211148. 0246 211148. All right, we need the money. She has, doctor says she has at least about 2 months for the surgery to be done, else she might end up losing her life. So it's a very critical stage, very critical condition. She can't bath by herself. She can't even eat by herself. And all she needs is 70,000 to do the surgery. So please, 0246 211148. The name is Samuel Kojo Brace. The number is on the screen. Any amount at all will be most appreciated. So please send it to us. Let's raise this fund. Let's support her. Let's get the surgery done for her. and let's be part of the transformation we want to see in their life. So we need that. We need
beautiful
money. Please,
in fact, this is what makes TV a beautiful thing, where people we can all mobilize our quota and give, Razak, that's all we have in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah. So take it away.
Indeed, that's all we have for you also on AM Show for the week. Thanks so much for being part of it. We'll be back same time next week, Monday, and the team, of course, will return to bring you all that you need to have on the show. All right, we'll meet again some other time. Please do take good care of yourselves. All right, Daniel. Yeah, did I say Daniel?
Like Derek, I forgive you.
Yeah. Daniel, the sound man.